All right. Good morning. Good morning to all. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is our third Saturday live session with introduction to critical race theory with Hillman Talk. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. As folks are coming in, I hope everyone had a great week, and I hope everyone is having an even better morning. So, good morning to all of you. Good morning to all of you. And as you're coming in, by the way, thank you all for your patience this past week with getting the lectures posted. Was a little bit interesting there, getting them done. Beyonce's Root Box. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, class. Good morning. How are you? Hey, Scotty, I see you coming in. Good morning, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. The water is just fine. Um, all right, so as we do on every single set, good morning, Lonnie. Good to have you. Good to have you. All right, so as we do with every Saturday, it is time to get it cranking with questions, comments, concerns, insights from the week. And we will see if I can actually keep up with the comments today. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Who is this? Sherry. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Typically, once we get rolling and get going, I usually fall behind on the comments, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing, right? That means that folks have lots to contribute, lots to say. So while I'm waiting for folks to start posting their questions, comments, concerns, insights, whether it be from the material, whether it be from news from the week, etc. First of all, go Dodgers. We are back in spring training, so I'm super excited about that. But that aside, this week we took the turn into critical race feminism. And for those of you all who were able to watch the lectures, that would be week 3, lecture 2, and week 3, lecture 3. You see exactly the type of analysis that Black feminism is bringing to critical race theory. And one of the things, that was laid out in the process of that lecture, right, is that critical race theory, like any other academic field, is necessarily incomplete. You need people to critique the field. You need people to say this is missing in order for the field to have a more sharper analysis. Good morning. Good morning. And this is what critical race feminism allows for. It really allows us to draw down like to some things, right? And so accordingly, we read the Combahee River Collective statement, and we also read the first part of Kimberly Crenshaw's piece on intersectionality. She has many of them, but it's like one of the first ones, right? So that's why we read that one. Okay, and Scouty is in with our first comment, so let's go ahead and jump in. So you said, I had the Combahee River statement assigned in another class, but your lecture really brought it to life. Oh, well, thank you. I try to do my best, right? And spend time with these with the pieces and go back over them. Of course, in my daily life of teaching, I have taught these pieces before, but just because I have taught these particular texts before doesn't mean that I just, come outside of my head with them, right? I go back over them, read them again within the context in which they were written, but also how they might apply to the contemporary time that we are in. So Miss Barbara says, happy Saturday. First of all, hi, Miss Barbara. Always glad to see you. So Miss Barbara says, happy Saturday, Professor. Critical Race Feminism lecture was fire. I am so glad that you enjoyed it. And, what I'm hoping is not only that folks are enjoying it, but you see how it is applicable to your lives, right? And the type of rigorous analysis that the lives of Black women are allowing us to understand. And by the way, this is what it's meant, right? When Black women are like, would you listen to us, please? This is what they are talking about, right? So I'm intentionally, good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon. Come on in, Coach Steph. Good to see you. Good to see you. So this is why it is important to pay attention to what Black women are saying, right? Not only because they are in like this experience with us, but because of the very specific and particular ways that law, prevents Black women in many instances from being able to file a claim. And we walked through that, right? Not only did we talk about that in the Kabahi River Collective statement in terms of Black women's experiences within social movement spaces and feminist spaces, but we also talked about that with Kimberly Crenshaw's piece as well. Scotty says, we women need to hear that growing up and especially entering corporate America. Listen, I am all for it, right? And not only is this a thing for women, Black women specifically like to hear, it's for everybody to hear, right? This is an everybody type kind of train. So if there is a way in which particularly the brothers, us, if we can come like together and just turn on the listening ears and turn on our reading eyes and really delve into the analysis that Black women are putting down, my goodness, how much further up the road would we be? And so what you all should have been able to see is, first of all, what critical race theory is doing, right? So we looked at stand your ground law as an example. There are plenty other laws we could have rolled out, but stand your ground is particularly relevant. So we looked at that. But then you see that hard turn, again, that critical race feminism allows us to have by way of making that analysis sharper and driving to a point. And that's what it is all about, right? And then another thing that I appreciate that Kimberly Crenshaw brought to the table for us, and again, feel free to put your comments or whatever down in the comment section, whatever have you, and we can address those, right? So one of the things that I do definitely appreciate is Kimberly Crenshaw's analysis and articulation of intersectionality, right? It is particularly important. And by going back and reading her piece, what becomes clear is we do have a lot of folks that are just like, okay, I'm this identity, and therefore that's intersectionality. When that's only 50% of the piece. The other half of the piece is how institutions causes those identities to matter. It's just not enough for one to belong to one social group in particular, right? One also has to, that identity has to be caused to matter in some particular way from institutions. And that is really what Kimberly Crenshaw is getting at. Not necessarily the multiplicity of one's identities, right? Which everyone has. Everyone has intersecting identities, right? But how institutions causes those identities to matter, particularly within the context of a courtroom, right? So there is that, and that is where we have been. So with that being stated, for the course, where are we going looking ahead, right? Particularly since we are headed into the last week of February, and shout out to the whole community that's been riding since February 1st, right? And some of you directly after, and some of you actually who are just coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are not behind. You can go to my profile, click on the Hillman Talk U CRT playlist, and boom, there you go, right? You'll be right there, and you will not have missed a thing. Would you go in an airboat? Let's see. I'm assuming you are referring to an airplane, and right now, I am necessarily, reserving my right to not fly at this juncture until we have some leadership in place that realizes the very important work that the FAA officials do. So at this point in time, I'm just going to reserve my right to visit places that I can get to within 3 or 4 hours by the car. Let's see. Thanks for letting us audit. Of course, Scotty, of course, right? The whole point of, Hillman Talk is to make the knowledge accessible, to put it out there so that everyone can get to it. And I am super, pleased, super excited to be able to do that. And even after this course concludes, because we have one more Saturday live session to go, which will be next Saturday, March 1st. I know I said until February 28th, but that'll be like the last, class lecture that will be uploaded, and that one won't even be that long. But March 1st, we're going to come together. We're going to do a wrap up and all of those good things, and it'll still be available on my profile. So not a problem, Scotty. Carla has said, this has been so enlightening and transformative. I am glad to hear that, Carla. And, like we ended last Saturday, one of the things that critical race theory compels us to do is to really go inward and do some self-reflection, not only in terms of our various privileges and where that may align in society, right? But it also compels us to rethink how we understand ourselves in society, right? How we have come to think about what we think is possible for ourselves and the limits that we've placed on ourselves by way of the Western world context in which we find ourselves. That was Charles Mills, week one, right? So necessarily, what critical race theory is really doing at the end of the day, if you ask me, right? Not necessarily that I would expect other critical race theorists to say this, but particularly the way in which I approach the field is that critical race theory reconciles you back into yourself and helps you to know there's nothing wrong with you, right? That you are 100% fine in your being. I'm not saying that life doesn't happen. Life happens. Nobody's perfect, right? But it does say, oh yeah, no, it's not me, it's you, right? You as as in the system. And that is particularly healing, especially when we start to get into critical race feminism and the issues that women, and specifically Black women, face in society, that they run into institutionally, that they run into structurally. It will mess with your head and it will have you thinking, what am I the problem in the room? No, you're not. It's the room. As Melissa Harris Perry says in her book, the room is crooked, not you. And you're looking at a crooked room. They're trying to convince you that it's you that's standing upright that has the problem. So, yes, no problem at all. And I hope that it continues to be enlightening and transformational for you. Okay, Lizzie says, you are doing a fantastic job making this course accessible, even though I have to reassemble my brain after each lecture. I do my best to make it accessible. If there's something more that I can do, please let me know. I was having an issue with the slides at one point in time, and someone in the comments said, hey, actually, when you're going through the editing process, just put the slide up there first and then take it smaller. So I've adopted that process within the editing process itself, that practice within the editing process. So if there's something more that I can do, let me know. And I am glad that it moves you to a space of having to reassemble your mind. That is what this journey is all about, right? Having some time to yourself to think, to process, to really, think these things through and say, wait a minute, but I thought yeah. So at the end of the day, really, and I tell my students this, every single time, we meet, definitely toward the end of a semester as I'm working with them. If by the time I reach the end of a given course, right, if you have more questions than answers, I've done my job, because that means that you are prompted to go out and seek those answers. This is just a point of departure for you to be interested and to go out there and find more resources. And that's why I've been doing book recommendations all along. You'll see them superimposed on the screen as the lectures move forward, etc. Right? So there is that. Let's see. J to the G, good to see you. Okay, J to the G says, I'm feeling a bit more hopeful after ruling from federal court in Maryland about DEI bans. Let us see, right? So seemingly like some good news is coming down there. Let's see how the administration acts. I personally think we could potentially be seeing some crumbling here in a minute, because there are some signs that someone by the last name of Musk, Elon, might be aware that, sir, this ain't gonna last forever, and the stuff you are doing is all types of charges and everything else. So J to the G, all that to say is, we shall see, and let's keep the hope alive as we sustain ourselves in the process, right? Let's see. I just be thinking, hey, hi, good to see you. You say loving the art behind you. Oh, thank you. This particular piece, you can find this sister on Etsy. She is a sister that's over in the UK that takes iconic Black American social protest moment. And, she has a love for art and appreciation for the struggle that Black folks in the U.S. has engaged in. And she brings color and life to those and to that art. So I really, really appreciate what she's doing there. This piece here was actually made by my cousin's wife. and she, had it on like a bigger, what do you call it? A bigger canvas. And I was like, I want that big one on my wall. She was like, hold up. I got you. I'll actually make you a smaller one. So this one right here, I really, really love this piece. So she made this and mailed it out to me. And then when they came to visit me here, she signed it for me. So I love both the pieces. I'm glad that you like them. Loving the art behind it. Zach, I see you snuck in here. Zach is one of my students, y'all, Zach has actually become like a little brother to me. I need to do a better job with communicating, but I trust he'll forgive me. But he's way taller than me, but he's like my little brother, and just an amazing person that's seeking out like how to do movement work in on the grounds here in California. So shout out to Zach. I see you coming into the live there. Let's see, Lizzie, same, especially when he says catch it. Oh my goodness, Scouty, I do my best. I'm just like, wait a minute, did I just say catch it again? But it's just, it is the spirit of teaching, if you will. Some of you, as you can probably guess, I come from a line of teachers and preachers, and it probably shows. It probably really shows. But speaking is really one of the gifts that resides within my family, and I just happen to pick it up. So here I am. That just happens to be the way that I teach. Maybe that needs to be a T-shirt at some point. Catch it. I don't know. Let's see. J to the G. It's much easier to see the foundation of whiteness is property and what's taking place recently. J to the G. Here we go. J to the G. I was going to do a TikTok on this. And I was trying to figure out, should I wait until I finish this course process, right? Or should I just do the TikTok now? Because like my TikToks outside of Hillman Talk is about looking at political issues, giving the analysis, etc. And I do think it is very interesting, right? For those of us that are in this course and that are taking this course, that are walking through the material, just like J to the G said, whiteness as property is on full display right now, right? You have people that are in town halls that are turning it upside down, inside out. And what's a critical race theorist approach to that is, they're not turning it upside down and inside out because this is the right thing to do. At the surface level, before we even fall into critical race theory, they're turning it upside down and inside out because they thought that it wouldn't impact them. That's point number one, right? But the ditch in which you dug for others, you have quickly found yourself in. That's just at the most surface level, right? Now, what is the critical race theorist approach to this? What critical race theory would do is look at this moment, and critical race theory would say, what these folks are upset about is that their rights, protections, entitlements, and benefits, etc., that is guaranteed to them vis-a-vis whiteness as property is not being recognized. And accordingly, what they are doing is going to these town halls and placing a demand that whiteness as property be recognized. But catch it, remember when there it is. Yeah, y'all just roll with me, right? But anyway, catch it. We went over this in week 2, that whiteness in and of itself has what? Qualifications. Oops. And there's a whole lot of people that belong to that demographic that says you might be able to open the door, but baby, you can't stay in a room. You got to stay out there on the porch and look into the door. You can open the door, but you can't quite come in the house. And so a lot of people are finding out that, oh my goodness, I'm not getting those benefits. And here we see whiteness as property on display. So yes, 110%, you are absolutely correct about that, J to the G. And I do think that it is it is something very interesting to observe in real time, right? And there is a particular town hall going across TikTok and other social media outlets with the lady. She was like, with our founding fathers, and with me, I was like, oh, there it is, our, because who is the our? Who is the our? The claim is being made there. This takes us back to week 1 with Charles Mills when we read the racial contract. right? So again, they see themselves as benefactors of that which has been secured for them, which means what? It means that they are making a demand upon ill-gotten gains, that they know that it was improperly gotten, by way of saying our founding fathers, when something was here before you, which leads back to what Charles Mills was saying about you have to ignore the fact that there was a society here before you, right? But by leaning into that, they're saying we want those benefits. And even though they were ill-gotten, they're still ours to be had, right? And also, as they do that, we can also have a conversation about how this whole national moment, track it, catch it, right? We can talk about how this whole national moment we're having right now is about how Elon Musk is making a demand on whiteness as property because he is a product of apartheid South Africa that extended to him certain benefits vis-a-vis whiteness as property, huh? So this is not just a U.S. rendering, right? What did Charles Mills say in the first line of his book? That white supremacy is the unnamed political system that informs the world in which we live today. And so the entirety of a country is thrown into just thrown into chaos because we have people that are trying to grip that which they feel that they belong to. This is what that belongs to them. Excuse me. This is why Elon is all over X saying, "Oh, they're kicking the white people out of South Africa, this, that, and third, and the other." So he's coming over to the United States to materialize that which he feels belongs to him because whiteness as property has secured that for him. Now, where is the further critique? And I'm gonna jump back into these comments. Remember, what was this? Was this week 2? I think it was week 2. No, it was week 3, lecture 1. Week 3, lecture 1, where we talked about that when one retains whiteness as property, it allows them to do what? Exceed the bounds of the nation state in favor of securing those rights to themselves. Now map that on the Elon. Federal law, what's that in his eyes? Huh? It's because that whiteness as property is doing a certain work. Okay, let me jump down in the comments. There I go. I'm already behind. But that's all right. We having a good time. Okay, boom. Zach, I love you too, bro. Let's see. Okay. PJ says, this is my favorite class. So glad to be here. So glad to have you here, PJ. So glad to have you here. Scotty says, I love Catch It. It makes me pay attention and I don't miss important parts. Well, there you go. It works out, right? It has a type of functionality. So it all comes together. Hi, everyone. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Jill, I almost said Jill Scott, but Jill's Chocolate Boutique says, say that. Okay, I'm not sure what I said, but yes, that. And it sounds like Jill's Chocolate Boutique is the name of a store or a business. So y'all check Jill out. I have to check out your profile later, but there's a black business. So check it out and see what is going on. Shawnee says, yes, sir. Spiritual activist. Hell yeah. I just cussed on here. I hope I'm okay with that. Okay. Shannon still says, in Peter Thiel from South. Listen, all of them. Elon, Peter, what's that man name that's from the Midwest that's the vice president? Oh Lord, what's his name? Married to JD Vance. There we go. JD Vance, right? And JD Vance is one of those people, right, that's trying to assert his claims to whiteness as property as well. But where he went wrong is that he married a woman of color and thought that those within within that particular group was going to be okay with that. And we saw what happened during the Republican National Convention. But yes, Peter Thiel, all of these people, Project 2025, and let's be very, very, very clear, right? Now, y'all stick with me as we lay this analysis out. Please understand that Project 2025 has been around since the late 1970s, right? It's there before Ronald Reagan comes into office. And Project 2025, as it relates to the larger conservative historical arc of the United States, the larger white historical arc of the United States, is actually not radical. What they're trying to do, again, is push the United States back into its historical white conservative arc. They are trying to lean back into that. And so folks like Elon Musk, folks like Peter Thiel, folks like Donald Trump, folks like what's old boy that stand next to Trump that has a ceiling missing? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I want to say his name is is it Steve Miller? He got a ceiling missing. He got a drop top. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But him, folks like him, Elon Musk, etc. They see the United States as a very specific project that's meant for a very specific demographic. And so when we talk about whiteness as property, these things are not just theoretical, they are real. And these people are hell bent on getting the United States back to where it was. And moreover, I'm gonna catch up on the comments in a minute, but we have to be careful, right, of like when Donald Trump is making these claims of, oh, people who are coming in the country are taking black jobs. That's a clue to let you know what he thinks about black people and where we should be and how he's upset about the fact that labor cannot be done for free. Now, there's a lot of critiques that can be laid down as it relates to that, but that is certainly one of them. All right, let's move through it. All right, let's see. Okay, there's that one. Okay, Musk from South Africa, they're even more audacious. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Oh my goodness. 47 is giving Afrikaners asylum. First of all, we can talk about Guantanamo Bay and how he reopened Guantanamo Bay and how a lot of persons who are both documented and undocumented are now in Guantanamo Bay. There are no lawyers that are permitted down there. There is no news coverage. And what I foresee is that somewhere in the near future, write it down right now, somewhere in the near future, there will be an investigation done of the unspeakable atrocities that's happening over there right now because this administration has reopened it and they are doing what people who participate in this level of injury, harm, and violence do in those spaces when there's no eyes on those people, and they always do that to persons of color. So watch this space, but write it down. I promise you heard it here first. All right. Spiritual activist, you teaching better than a professor. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. That's it. That's spiritual activist. I'm not sure what to do with that because I am a professor. Oh my goodness. But I do take it as a compliment. So there's that. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, that's a unique way of saying that. Thank you for being here. You say one of my favorite creators. I'm learning a lot from you. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. Listen, I'm learning just as much from you all as you all are learning from me. Like this is a wonderful exchange. Shawnee says, Professor, thank you for your knowledge. No problem. As I stated before in a TikTok, right? Even though I went to undergrad at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, shout out to the HBCUs there. All of my graduate degrees are from the University of California, Los Angeles. That means I went to a public university to study at the doctoral level, to attain this knowledge, to have time to sit down, to read and do all of those things. And I did not pay a single dime for it. That means on some level, in some way, the public has invested in me being able to sit down and have conversations. Isn't that an awesome opportunity? The fact that you can sit down, have conversations, read, and let your mind wander, and that the public has invested in your capacity to do so. I better get myself on this live for free. Now, that was just my politics. I better get myself on this live for free and share out that which the public has invested in me. Now, those are just my politics. Now, I'm not hating on anyone who has their, what do you call it? Their GoFundMe, their PayPals, and Apple Pay, whatever else they may have. I'm not hating on those people. I'm just telling you what my politic is. That when the public has invested in me, and that I have went to one of the world's top research institutions, oh yeah, that's called reciprocity. You got to kick that back out. So Shawnee, no problem at all. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be here with you all every single day of the week for the most part, as well as live on Saturdays. J to the G. They want us to believe the fight is for U.S. Citizens as property, but the distribution is not equal, and it never will be. And it never will be, right? Because we even have to talk about like the qualifications of citizenship and who gets recognized as citizen and who can access the full slate of benefits. Hold on, let me sip some orange juice while I catch up here. All right. KT says, good morning, all. This is one I don't want to miss. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Let's see. Jill's Chocolate Boutique says, thanks for the promo. Oh, no problem. We gotta support our folks, right? So y'all go ahead and check Jill out once again. Let's see. All right, TikTok letting me know that some comments have been filtered for community experience. Listen, I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. I can't see them. So, I hope no one's comments got caught up in there, but, it's all good. It's all love. We come together and we do this. Okay. All right. Tiff says, I never knew that about Project 2025. I thought it was made up because Trump lost to Biden. No, not at all. Yeah, Project 2025 is something historical. As a matter of fact, I need to create the playlist, right? I actually have a set of TikToks that go over the history of Project 2025. It's one of my earlier TikToks, but nonetheless, Tiff, I will work on creating that playlist. And that set of TikToks that I did was called The Purpose of Project 2025. And do I go deep into the weeds? Yes. And I will be honest, at one point in time, I just had to stop because I knew that I had touched something that I had went a step too far. And I was like, I don't need nobody knocking on my door. Right? Because that's just what that is. That's not to be a conspiracy theorist, but it just is what it is. I had reached the point and I was like, okay, I think people get the point. And I actually rolled up on something. I said, okay, cool. I'm just going to stop right there and we good. But nonetheless, yes, this is historical. And where Project 2025 in its, in its historical arc gets its point of departure, that's why they slid Ronald Reagan up in that White House, right? Because Ronald Reagan, as we all know, was an actor. Excuse me. I hope that did not come across my mic. I am so sorry. I usually try to move the mic out of the way. But anyway, Ronald Reagan is an actor. He's not politically savvy, and he starts doing everything that this group of people is telling him to do. And now, what do we have in office again? Another actor. Basically, right, he does reality television, right, he does discriminatory stuff in housing. He also didn't want to hire black people at his casinos and demanded they be swept off the floor whenever him and his wife came to visit. Y'all check them New York Times archives, it's in there. But nonetheless, to answer your question, Tiff, before I go way off to the left with that, no, Project 2025 has been around at least since the late 70s, right? And I will create that playlist after we end the live here today, so that is available on my profile so that you can see what I am talking about. So stay tuned. I'll upload them and put them there. All right. Adrian says drop top. Funny. I mean, that's what he has. I mean, I think that's his name, right? Isn't it name like Stephen Miller or something like that? The brother got a drop top. Right? Just glistening in the sun. That's probably why he upset. Let me stop. Y'all ain't come on here for that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Queen Amani, using religion. Absolutely. Religion is also being used in this moment. Some of you all know about the Seven Mountain Mandate, right? Look into that. There are a lot of Republicans that are a part of that. We also know about Christian nationalism. I also referred you all to Anthea Butler's book that has to do with white evangelicalism, and that we need to be aware of these things, right? So this Christian white nationalist moment that we are having is prompting us to ask some questions. And among those questions being, now I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna get off of it, right? Because it's another story for another day. And that ain't this live. That's probably another professor somewhere within Hillman Top that's addressing this. It really brings up this question for consideration. If this is Christian nationalism that is going down, how is it possible we praying to the same God? I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, moving right along. I'm gonna let y'all work that out in the comments. I'm moving right along. Okay, Lizard says Project 2025 is a counter weapon against CRT. JD, what's his name, took CRT and chose evil. Yes, 110% correct. And let's be clear, Lizette, right? Not only do we see Project 2025 as a counter weapon in terms of them like ramping it up, right? But what critical race theory, if it was looked into properly by those who do not look like me, it will reveal to them the true character of themselves. Because at the end of the day, you got to find out who you are without that whiteness, huh? Who are you without all that? Let me come up off that. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, move on. Okay, Whisper Walk. Just stumbled. Tap on you to learn. All right, well, come on in. Whisper Walk 1, we glad to have you here. Come in, be a part of the community. Put your comments down in there. We just catching up from the week. We're talking about things that may have happened in the news. We're talking about things that may have taken place in lecture in terms of insights, because this is a part of Introduction to Critical Race Theory that is with Hillman Talk U. That is part of a larger learning community. All right, Miss Nelly says, say that again about the black. I'm not sure what I said, but I'll watch this back to see what's going on. PJ, does the whiteness of property apply to why they didn't say anything about Elon making the salute? Hello. I'll drink to that. Wait, you got to give me a minute on that one. Yes. That is the short answer to your question. Yes. That's precisely why they didn't say anything. And what's even more interesting is that if you go back and you watch news coverage from this week, of course, while maintaining a sense of self-care for yourself, right, during this time, you will see that this is taken off, right? We saw the Catholic priest who did it, and the Catholic Church kicked him out. Steve Bannon also took to the platform, I believe that was Thursday. He did the same part. Wait. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be clearing my throat in this mic. I might need to chill out on the orange juice. Please excuse me if that's not coming across appropriately. Anyway, but yes, because they do not see themselves as being impacted by it. And by the time they see themselves as being impacted by it, it's going to be too late. And the same thing happened to that town in Alabama. All these different places as well that voted for Trump. And what's happening? All of these different things are rolling back. The cost of insulin going back up. The town whose electric bill, I believe that was in Alabama or Mississippi, because of a grant that was put in place. They're in Trump stripped away. Their bills are now going up by $100 per month that they have been notified. And that salute doesn't matter to them until it starts to sit in their house. So all that to answer your question, PJ, yes. Who taught you to hate? You're back. What's up? Who taught you to hate yourself? I love seeing you in here. Okay, what are Black MAGAs hoping to get? Now, why would you lead me down this road? Why would you lead me down this road? Okay, so the question is, what are Black MAGAs hoping to gain? For example, those who were celebrating Black History Month at the White House yesterday, they want a seat at the table, huh? They want a seat at the table without recognizing that there is a problem with the table that is standing on crooked legs, and the chair that they sitting in is made out of straw that's going to light up under them because it got kerosene on it, right? They want a seat at the table, and they feel that if they shuck and jive long enough, that, hey, they will be good. Tim Scott. And I'm not even going to get into that marriage, but that's another story for another day, because I ain't going to speak on nobody's situation, right? But Tim Scott, who rolled out opportunity zones that actually was like, oh, this is going to help Black communities. It did not. You are in the belly of the beast with the devil himself, and you thought that man was going to let you send opportunity zones across his desk, and that was going to be beneficial to the Black community. There is a whole TikTok at the top of my page that's pinned that goes into what opportunity zones are about. But to answer your question, who taught you to hate yourself, that's ultimately what it's about. It is about, right, those Black folks who are in MAGA land refuse to do a rethinking of what power means, and should this form of power even exist, that somehow that they want white power in Black hands, and that's not revolutionary. And they see exactly where that's gonna get them, and they're gonna end up like that Black 4-star general who got fired by Trump this past week. But nonetheless, all right, Mr. Ellie 91, say that again about Black jobs. Listen, it's true. It is what it is. And, you had, some Black folks, that had, some approaches and some ideas to it. But at the end of the day, what that was about was Trump saying, oh, no, we understand that y'all Black, according to we, meaning them, we believe that y'all Black behinds should be out there doing that work, and y'all ain't had no business getting free in the first place. And to the extent that we did give you freedom, you still should be out there doing sharecropping. You still should be out there doing convict leasing. Why? Because that is how these folks got rich. Y'all better look up that background on Trump and Elon. They ain't come up on that money overnight. I'll say that. right? Or come up on it honest. I should say that. Uh, okay. Jill's Chocolate Boutique says, I believe it. Gwen Amani, yes. Now, Gwen Amani, I'm not sure if I can say, I'll say G side. I think I can say that on TikTok. It's interesting having to post these lectures on TikTok because if y'all been riding with me for a minute, you can see how I kind of sort of like self-audit myself as I'm talking while I'm doing lectures. Try to make sure that, they don't get, thrown off of TikTok, right? But yes, Queen Amani, I see you and I agree. Okay, I just be thinking, you skipped a few. I want to hear your thoughts on PJ's comments. Wait a minute, I just be thinking, you got to give it to me again. Which one? Which one? Uh-oh. Put it back in here and I'll catch it. Put it back in here and I'll catch it. My bad. I really don't. That was not intentional. I promise. I promise. Put it back in here and I'll definitely pick it up. Okay. J to the G says, right, brown folks out one door and white Afrikaners in the other. It's so clear. Very, very clear. Jill says, he's a professor for real. I really am. But you know what? Hey, I took that moment as a compliment, right? It's all good. Okay, let's see. Los Angeles in the house. Yes, all day, baby. Let's go. Let's go. LA is in the house. And yes, I'm a huge Dodgers fan. It is what it is. My favorite player is Teoscar Hernandez. I'm super excited about the season getting back underway. There were some few spring training games. Yeah, the Cubs got at us, but it's spring training. We just chilling out. We getting the arms going back going again. Okay, let's see. Dana says, thank you for being here, right? Thank you for being here. And I appreciate it. Okay, you are giving back way more than what the world deserves. We appreciate you. Oh my goodness. Not a problem. I just be thinking, again, it's really an honor to do like this labor of love. I enjoy it. I look forward to Saturdays. Like my eyes popped open like at 5 o'clock this morning. I was like, woo, today's the day. Because it's one thing like to go through and do the lectures, right, and sit in front of the cameras and go through the editing process and different things like that. But it's also so awesome to be able to sit with you all one-on-one on Saturdays and do this for an hour and a half that we be thinking. So I'm just excited and glad to be here in the fact that people are really picking this up and seeing and understanding that there's nothing wrong. That is the most powerful thing to me, that there's nothing wrong with them. That this truly is a social construct that we are living in, right? And to learn to give themselves grace and to be patient with themselves and to help reconfigure themselves, right? That is the ultimate power of education. If you keep studying the right thing, if you keep reading the right books, eventually at some point in time, you will run into yourself. That is the power of African American studies. That is the power of CRT. That is the power of gender studies courses. That is the power of Chicana studies, Latinx studies, Asian American studies, right? All of these other studies that this administration is trying to do away with. Why? Because it tells the other history. It tells about the history that your elders put down, that you are standing on top of, so that way you stop accepting less than what you are entitled to. And I meant every single word of that. Right? And that everything you want to come into your hands can be yours. Because what did James Baldwin say? The price of the ticket has been paid. And I'm going to add on to that, and we don't pay twice. And as Maya Angelou said, your crown has been paid for. Put it on your head and do what? Wear it. So that is the power of all of this. So all that to say is I'm glad to be here with you all in community with you all. All right. Shonda, what's up? What's up? Let's see. Hold on. I don't scroll too far back up. Let's see. Da 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 da. Do do do. Sorry. Whiteness is property. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. I don't miss. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Where can we find your posts about Project 2025? Shonda, what I'm going to do is I am going to actually create a playlist once we conclude here today. I'm going to go back through my profile and I'm going to find those particular TikToks, and I'll create a playlist. Now, Shonda, heads up. Don't laugh at me too much because the video quality on them is just, Right? The microphone was a little bit raggedy and all of that, but you can still hear it. But I'm gonna create the playlist, and the information is still there. But hey, man, we thank God for growth, because ooh, baby, the struggle was real. But nonetheless, I'll create a playlist so that you have access to those. So they will be it will be in a playlist on the profile by the end of the day. Carla says, crazy how they say CRT info is indoctrination when it's facts. Correct. And moreover, Carla, what is indoctrination is that K through 12 education, huh? Because you really don't dive into the nuances of law. You really don't dive into the nuances of African American history, Chicano history, Latinx history, Asian American history, all of these different histories. You don't dive into an international view of the United States and the coups that the United States has done and how the United States has brought together. I'm going to tell you what exercise that I do with some of my students. If Zach is still in here, I didn't do this with Zach's class, and I should have. I have my students read an anonymous letter about the United States in some of my courses. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is on point. Yeah, you telling the truth. You telling the truth. And when they're done with that letter, I tell them, congratulations. You have just agreed with Osama bin Laden. And the jaws that hit the floor, right? Now, that's not to say that he did not do some problematic stuff. That is to say that the K through 12 education indoctrinates our students, indoctrinates students to get behind the U.S. project in a particular kind of way without understanding the critical views of the United States and how the United States plays out on the world stage. Okay, move right. All that to say is, of course, I agree with you. All right, Tiff says, love it. Thank you. I look forward to learning more about it. Sure, no problem. You answered my question, says Shauna. Okay, cool beans. Do you have any book recs that explain CRT as at a beginning level? I'm struggling to keep pace. Hey, Aaron. There is it in iView? Okay, if y'all give me like 5 seconds, I just need to go pull this book and I'll be right back. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, Aaron. If you there's a couple of things that you can do, right? Y'all, I got books all over this house. You can go to my profile page. I've got Derek Bell's book. Darn, that's okay. You can go to my profile page and you can start with week 1, lecture 1. That will give you like a rundown primer of what critical race theory is in its origins, right? In terms of one of the first books that come out within critical race theory is one of the early books, rather I should say, is Derek Bell's Faces at the Bottom of the Well. Derek Bell, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, okay? Now, once you come through that, and he speaks in allegories, by the way, in that book, right? So if you like sci-fi stuff, like he uses sci-fi as a type of allegory to talk about the United States. All right, once you get beyond that, this is the commanding book for critical race theory. This is this book. It says critical race theory, the key writings that formed the movement. The key word being here, movement. So critical race theory is not just an academic discipline. This is part of the reason why, right? And I said this in week 1, lecture 1. Excuse me. Part of the reason why there is a national attack on critical race theory is because it's a movement. Kimberly Crenshaw is not just writing about intersectionality. She also has the African American the African American Policy Forum that acts on public policy, that gets in the street. Kimberly Crenshaw is the person behind hashtag Say Her Name, right? It is a movement. It requires social justice, a movement. Anyway, this is like just any person that's into critical race theory, any person that teaches it, boom, they're on this book, right? What is a second one? I like this one, believe it or not. There's some good readings in here. Critical Race Theory, The Cutting Edge. Right, there are some good articles in here as well that you can pick up and read on. And Aaron, take your time. Right, this it's not necessarily one of those things of like you can just it's like line by line, word by word. If you have to read with a dictionary and Google next to you, I still do. Even with my doctorate self, I still do. I read with a dictionary next to me, pens, highlighters, etc. And I take my time. Sometimes it can take me an hour and a half to read 20 pages because I'm picking up on the nuance of what is going on. I'm researching the context of the article itself, right? So you'll want to do that. And importantly, toward the turn that we took this week, critical race feminism, baby, you got to put it in there, right? You want to do the same thing with this, right? These are when the women come to the table and they start making their arguments, right? But those three texts will get you started. And if you're into like a type of allegory or sci-fi type situation, again, Derek Bell faces at the bottom of the well, talks about the United States through various stories. It's quite an interesting text. Okay, there's that. All right. Let's see. Madeline, I think, or Madeline says, we're not praying to the same God. They made one up. Hello. Right? But I believe that to the religion professors of Hillman Tucker. I believe that to them. All right. This is why I'm here as a white person. Well, hey, Shannon, come on in, right? Come on in. The water is just fine. Come on in. All right, PJ. Does the whiteness is property apply to why there was no backlash for Elon making the gesture? Yes. That is exactly why. Right? Right, excuse me, is what I meant to say there. PJ, and why Kanye got all the smoke? Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna need Mr. West to wake on up and be like, hello, didn't he have that like on one of his albums? Wake up, Mr. West, or something like that. Knocking on the door, boom, boom, boom. Come on, Kanye. Come on. Get on up out of that hole you in. What they said in that movie? Get out! Send somebody for the brother. Lord have mercy. Anyway, okay, let me get off of that. We pray for his cognitive well-being. All right. PJ says, sorry for my repost. I thought they filtered my comment. Oh, all good. No, you're good. All right, let's see. Jill says, it's okay. We all have to clear our voices. We still enjoying the same lecture. Sorry about that. I just try to move the mic out the way because, different people have different proclivities. And I try to be respectful, right? And make sure, but nonetheless, all good. Shawnee, that is such a great question. Why do black MAGAs, what do black MAGAs want? It's confusing. They want the same thing. Let's put it down and be honest, right? Because this is why turning to critical race feminism this week is important. They want the same thing the white men got going on, huh? Let's just settle it up. I hope the brothers in the chat ain't gonna be mad at me, but we're gonna go ahead and speak the truth for what it is up in here today. Because we got one more week left in this course and one more Saturday, so we just gonna put it down how it's put down. They want what them white men got. That's what it is. They want that power. They want that same thing. And they cannot articulate a different vision of manhood for themselves because they have made white men their God. Oops. Put it on the floor and call it like it is. Now, I'm not saying that's all brothers. But at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want to be able to rule like that. They want to be able to move like that. Because that becomes their conceptualization of what manhood is. Woo! Oh, God, if I had time. If I had time to teach this like I want to teach it. Because we really, 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 here we go. And I'm pretty sure, most of y'all have probably figured this out. Now, listen, I'm on the Rainbow Committee, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all like it is. I'm not the person you got to be worried about, huh? But it's very, very interesting to me how these people are always trying to clock a situation of what's going on, and you have centered and you worship a man in your world as a straight man. Let's move on from that. Let's get back to class. I'm sorry. Shawnee, why you let me into that? I'm gonna get off of that. Okay. No one said anything about Elon in the office with a chainsaw as relates to fire and Yes, now that was a moment. That Elon with that chainsaw was quite a moment. It was quite a moment. Yeah, I'm still processing that in my head. Because the fact that you are in charge of politics and you come up on here like you are on WWE Live with a chainsaw and sunglasses on, like you are the hype man. sir, you are dealing with politics that impacts people's lives, and you think this is a game. But I will tell you this: you got to be careful of the ditch that you dig for other people, huh? If you hang around your grandmother long enough, you know what the other side of that is. All right. Okay, so Ms. Barber says Project 2025 organized in response to white felt their rights were being trampled on after civil rights bill. Woo, Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara, this is why I love you. 110% correct, right? I believe this was covered maybe in the first week of the course, right? In terms of that, the nation state has been in a very specific battle, not only since the Civil Rights Bill, but more specifically as well since Brown versus Board of Education. Because that is when Plessy versus Ferguson was done away with. That's why we went there in terms of TikTok is asking me to verify some stuff. Okay, cool beans. There we go. Okay, that is why we went there with Plessy versus Ferguson, right? Because it is Brown versus Board of Education, along with the Civil Rights Bill and everything else, that busts that up. And they were like, "Whoa, hold on!" They went into a frenzy. What do you mean by desegregate? What do you mean by civil rights bills? What do you mean by voting rights bill? What do you mean by affirmative action? Because all of these progressions, to Miss Barbara's point, that has been made over both time and space, all of these things that have been done, they are actually counter larger United States history. And so they see all of these efforts as detracting from their property rights in what? Whiteness. So yes, Miss Barbara, 110% on point. Okay, Jill says facts. Carla says, do you think Black MAGA is self-hating or misinformed? I think both. I don't even necessarily think, never mind. I was going to say, I don't think they hate themselves. Maybe I'll still say that. I don't even think they're necessarily misinformed either. I and this is just, my opinion, Carla, right? Not necessarily that I have scholarship to base it upon, but I'm not necessarily sure that they're self-hating or that they're misinformed, because it's a decision. It's a decision. They looked at what's going on and said, I want to be that. And I want to be that in Blackness. And I want to be that within the Black community, right? I don't know. Let me think on that one. Let me think on that one. I'm not sure if necessarily like it's self-hating. I definitely can't say it's misinformed, because it's a decision. Because they can run down his entire policy and say, oh, this is what he's doing, this is what he's doing, and like it's going to benefit them. It's not. So I don't necessarily think that they're misinformed. I don't know. Let me think through that one, Carla. I'm pretty sure it'll pop into my head by the time before this live is over. Okay, next one. Okay. Foolish Times protest. I believe I said it. It says a CRT hits a nerve. Some don't know how to deal with the moral crisis it can bring. Hello. And that is why some of this stuff that they're calling critical race theory is actually not critical race theory. In order for it to be critical race theory, babe, you got to get into the law. And the reason why getting into the law is important, because the law brings society about. And when you start questioning, interrogating, and making very clear what law is doing, you are 100% correct. It brings about a moral and ethical crisis and compels the people to do something. That is why it is called a movement. Because law, as a principal mechanism that structures society, is starting to be what? Questioned. So you are 100% correct, and that is also why turning to Kimberly Crenshaw this week was quite important. Okay. PJ says, I think Black MAGA, some of us might have to be left behind. Listen. Now listen, I don't necessarily agree with Dr. Umar on all things at all times. But listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. And what did he say? Some of them got to be left behind. Right? And I'll just leave that there. So nonetheless, Cass 150 says the Black Jobs comment intersects with RFK's commentary on Black immune superiority to Congress. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And RFK is definitely in this school of thought that goes back to the old race-based scientists, right? This goes back to people like Darwin Hobbes. Not Darwin Hobbes. I say Darwin Hobbes, Lord. Charles Darwin. Woo! Okay, where did that come from? Anyway, This goes back to folks like Charles Darwin, right, who were arguing that fusion, which was another word that begins with the R and ends with the E, was a good thing for black women when when white men did that to black women, because it allowed them to be what? Civilized. That was his argument. Where's that book? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, boom, here it is, right here. Let me move my Dodgers thing aside. That's covered in this text right here. E. Frances White, a sister, writes this book, Dark Continent of Our Bodies, and she goes back and she talks about Charles Darwin and his concept of fusion. And not only Charles Darwin, we got to talk about J. Marion Sims, right, who brought about the field of OBGYN upon the bodies of enslaved black women and did not use anesthesia, right? All of those things go into this whole idea that RFK is sitting on Capitol Hill in D2025, peddling, talking about black folks are our bodies are superior, right? And he's using that toward an argument to say that we don't need resources in our communities. Let them be exposed to whatever. That's really the backside of what he's getting at, right? There's that, right? Or maybe he's mad at the fact that we take showers. Oh shit! I shoot. Let me move on. Y'all trying to get me into some stuff. Let me move on. Yeah, they're not coming with me. Theo, yes. Shout out to Theo all day. That lets me know how far behind I am, because I said Teoscar Hernandez quite some time ago, and that is my favorite baseball player, by the way. If y'all have not seen the brother play, y'all check him out. Mookie, Freddie, all of them are excellent, but Teoscar Hernandez is my boy, hands down. Okay, HRJ says, friend, it's me, Hiller. I've been enjoying your content. Hey! How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, Shauna, we need to create a Black Wall Street again. Listen, we're trying, and they're doing the same things. Not that I disagree, but we are trying. And anytime that we try to create a black moment where black folks can shop, right, where we can circulate the dollar, there then comes to be an issue. And who is leading this? Overwhelmingly black women. So remember when those black women started that venture capital fund, and what did white people do? They filed that lawsuit and they said, nope, they're violating our 14th Amendment rights. We want access to that money too. So if they can't blow it up, they go to court and take it, right? So there's some things to think through, but I do agree, Shauna. I do agree. Okay, you should have a meetup in the future. I'll bring some chocolates. Jill, okay, this is, okay. Is a synchronicity moment happening here? Because this same comment came up last Saturday that a meetup needs to happen, right? So we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like, and if we can get that going. Aaron says, love your energy. Appreciate it. This week's lecture have me thinking so deeply. Yes, Sandy, get it now. Sandy, I see an elephant in some triangles, which that is indicative of Delta Sigma Theta. Are you Delta Sigma Theta, Sandy? If so, shout out to you. But Sandy says, this week's lecture have me thinking so deeply. Yes, and that is the point, to really get down in there and understand how law is impacting everyone's lives, and how law has allowed for black women to have the very specific experiences they are having in the United States, even as rights are being attained by white women and black men, right? And let me be clear, right? Because a few brothers might, like smash on me a little bit. This is not me hating on black men. Hello, I am one, right? But it's just looking at the facts and speaking to what it is, so we can get to the next place, right? That this is what that is. All right, so let's see. Carla says, OMG, I would come. I think that's in reference to the meetup. We'll have to see what's going on there, right? Let's see. Okay, I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming. Let's see. Okay, responding. Okay, the true non-whitewash history. Yes, 100% Shannon. HRJ, our Spellhouse pandemic Zooms would be so proud. Yo! Okay, so y'all, there were, during the pandemic, my Spellhouse family came together. And we really formed community on Zoom, and it was just amazing. And believe it or not, from time to time, I do see Cottrell pop in and out of the lectures. So I'm so glad that you are here. And listen, I got to get back to Atlanta so we can party up. So we can do the meet up again. CRT Church says amen from Scotty. Okay, I gotta say, I never thought I'd see us going backwards. Listen, history doesn't repeat itself, but oftentimes it rhymes, and we are rhyming like Kendrick Lamar on Drake right now. Never mind, let me get off that. Okay, Shauna. Okay, Shauna says, hey, apologies for not attending class last week. I was striking for workers' rights. That's all right, because you were in class anyway, right? Like that's just part of it. Right, especially, and Shauna, I think this point is important. First of all, Shauna, the lectures are always there. You can go to my profile, you can click on Hillman Talk UCRT, and you can catch right up. The lectures are on demand, and that goes for everyone. Life happens. Listen, we try to do the best that we can. Y'all see, sometimes I am late with these lectures, and I will post a video, and I'll say, hey, my bad, I'm running late. Why? Because life happens, but I pre-record them, I make them available, so that way they are on demand. But Shauna, thank you so much for being out there and fighting for workers' rights. And you all, by the way, keep your eyes open. There's some very interesting stuff that is said to be coming down the pipes with the United States Postal Service. Keep your eyes open. Remember, this week for Lecture 1, we talked about neoliberalism and how public resources and public goods become privatized and privately held and privately owned. Watch this space. I'm going to say it one more time. Watch this space. So even as this class is happening, the things that we're teaching about and learning about is happening in real time, particularly as it relates to neoliberalism. Watch this space. There's that. Write it down, right? Okay, so Shauna says, no laughing here, real. Okay, Coco says, Gen X are here. I remember my teacher actually teaching that the goal is to assimilate. Hello, there it is. And what is part of that? That's some of us are old enough to remember being in elementary school, and there was a yellow line that went through, and everybody had to walk on the line. Everybody had to do the Pledge of Allegiance. When the bell rings, you move, just like what? Slavery. Right? It is about the assimilation. It is about the programming, right? Okay, Shannon says, people in other countries know more facts about this country than our own citizens. Hello, wait a minute. Pardon me. Okay. Very, very, very true, right? And they know the critical aspects of the country, and they know it in and out. And really, that is why there is an attack on the universities. Anytime that there is a movement that's trying to get a certain thing done that is counter maybe a progressive or more radical arc of where the country is trying to go historically, the first place that's attacked is the university. Why? Because the university has the archives. Y'all might want to look into what the man sitting up there in the office tried to do to the National Archives. Y'all look it up. Right? I might do a TikTok on that, by the way. Because when you start messing with the National Archives, you are talking about the documented history of a nation and all of its nuances. And when I tell you the National Archives has all of it, not just the George Washington stuff, that's cute. I'm talking about the records of family members who are enslaved, right? Those who fought in the Civil War. The National Archives has all of that stuff. Peep game what he doing up there in that office, right? Don't watch this space. Well, yeah, watch this space, but we also got to do something, I suppose. But right now, black folks on vacation. All right. Listen, and we are enjoying it because this ain't our mess to clean up. Okay, Coco says 5th grade. Yes, PJ, that's exactly why they. Oh, boom, there it is. That's exactly what they had to say. Pledge allegiance to the flag. That's exactly correct. Scouty, let's see. They were big mad when that. Oh, so listen, hugely mad, right? It is such an interesting exercise to do with your students, because typically once they get to the upper division courses, that means they've had all the introductory courses, some of the intermediate stuff, and they read that and they're like, yeah, colonialism, da 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 da. And then they're like, wait a minute, it's by who? I'm like, yeah, you got to deal with that, right? Shannon says, okay, it felt so weird. I hated doing it. I'm assuming that it's the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm not gonna get into that. That's another story for another day. All right, we'll come back. Queen of Mine says movement. That is exactly correct. Shonda, I read with the dictionary next to me too. The readings for this class are deep. Yes. I'm telling you that is my jam. I have dictionaries, I have highlighters, I make sticky notes, right? I do all of those things because you really do have to take your time with these readings, and especially readings like Whiteness is Property, and especially Kimberly Crenshaw, because I think what was so interesting is with some of these readings is that on the surface level they seem easy to read, but when you slow down and you really pick up what these authors are putting down, you'll be like, oh, I got to rethink some stuff, right? So, Shauna, I absolutely agree with you. Zach says, thoughts on Mr. Duckworth being on the biggest commercialized stage, performing in front of Trump. Zach, you got to let me know the Duckworth situation. Send it to my phone. Send it to my phone. I've probably seen it, but the name is probably not ringing a bell. Send it to me, Zach. Let's see, so that way I can know exactly what it is you are referring to. Okay, let me move through the other. Okay, Baby D, he in the sunken place, referring to Kanye. Yes, get out, right? Sorry for misspelling. I meant to say I stumbled upon your feed. I'm using text to speech. All good, all good. Whisper Walk, we're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here. Miss Mama says, "Say it." I'm not sure what I was saying, but there's that. Okay, speak on it. Black MAGAs want all the listen. They do. Oh, is that what I was saying at the time? Oh Lord, I am behind. Okay, I'm catching up, y'all. I'm coming. Okay. What about Candace Owens? I almost got up off this seat and ran up out of here. Now, why would you walk me into that? Why would you walk me into that vid? Like y'all know how these Saturdays be going. Why would you walk me into Candace Owens like that? Like, come on. Like, you can't give me like a little heads up and say, hey, I'm about to drop a name. Be ready for it. There is a lot that is going on with Candace Owens, right? I will say this. There are some black women who are not exempt from the MAGA critique, right? That's on that side of the line. That's just like Diamond and Silk up there shucking and jiving as well, right? It becomes the same thing. And really when it comes down to Candace Owens, right? Because we understand that black women are not a monolith and all black women do not believe the same thing. But who Candace Owens sees herself in, if you ask me, if she sees herself, oh gosh, okay, let's just put it out there. If you ask me, she sees herself in the likeness of a Caitlin Collins who got Don Lemon kicked off of CNN. And the problem that Candace Owens is having is that she don't got that kind of power. And she is being reminded that though you tap dance over here, you will never be in the personhood of a Caitlin Collins, right? And I hope that answers the question, because I almost switched over to Don Lemon, but I'm gonna leave that alone because yeah, Don Lemon got that wake up call too. That Caitlin Collins had to remind him, oh no, I retain whiteness as property, and I say what's happening up in here. Right, so it was a whole lot of collisions happening there at one point in time, but he did get that check from CNN. And the thing about it is that whiteness is property is so pervasive, it is so potent in its ability to convey rights that a whole corporation is willing to cut you a multi-million-dollar check to keep your black behind on TV in order to keep a white woman comfortable. That's what's going on with Candace Owens, but she won't have that. All right, KF, will you be teaching more or a different subject after this class is completed? Well, this class does complete on February 28th. That is this coming Friday. We'll do one more live on March 1st. And, I'll see. There are some people here, like I just be thinking, who has been so gracious in following my content and watching it before Hillman Talk. And I do need to get back into that just for a little bit, right? And don't worry, it's not too different than what I'm doing now. I literally take a political issue, whatever have you, and I break it down. If you go watch some of my older TikToks, you'll see the process of what I do, right? So I am going to get back into that for just a little bit. I was actually thinking yesterday about what is the next course to be offered that I would think about doing and making available. And I'm thinking about doing Black women in the history of the United States. So that way we have a very clear understanding, right? So an example, one of the heroes, that we need to be talking about, right? Because the saying is that if America catches a cold, Black America catches the flu. Well, the person who nursed Black America back to life during the Great Depression is Mary McLeod Bethune. It's not just that she established a college in Daytona Beach, Florida by the name of Bethune-Cookman, but it's the fact that she is the only Black person that's in the presidential cabinet for FDR with his racist self, right? Who gets America through, and Black America through, and what she does is she establishes a youth program and she offers job training, and that is what gets Black people through the Great Depression, because she rolled out that program, and contributions like that need to be understood. The experience of people like Reese Taylor, Ella Baker, some of these names you folks have heard from me before, Fannie Lou Hamer, all of these people, these positions need to be made clear in terms of what Black women were doing. As a matter, is there where is Sarah's book? It's somewhere up here. Oh, you know what? No, it's on my desk because I'm reading it right now. Anyway, there's a wonderful book called No Mercy Here by Sarah Haley. Read it. No Mercy Here by Sarah Haley. Read it, right? So I'm thinking, all that to say is I'm thinking about doing Black women in the history of the United States and bringing more light to that area, simply because we do need to learn more, KF. So there is that. Cass 150 says, preach on wanting the white males. Listen, yes, all of that. Adrian, you say on one Saturday left. Yeah, and that, Adrian, that is formally like for the course, right? Depending on the vibes and how people feel about it, I may, come back maybe every other Saturday or something like that, and we just shoot the breeze and see what's going on. Or I may just keep Saturday lives going. That's fine too, right? It's just that this won't be behind me, right? Well, the screen will be there, but not necessarily introduction to critical race theory. So, I may be here so we can continue this. I definitely don't mind doing it, right? Part of the reason why I do it early on Saturday morning is because it allows me to get up, it gets my blood going, it gets my brain going, and then I jump into the day, and that's what's going on. So I may continue on, Adrian. That's a good idea. We'll see. Let's see here. Okay, so people are having conversations in the chat, which is wonderful. Let's see. One thing I've learned from this is that any rights we acquire aren't guaranteed. They sure aren't. Number one, rights are a social construction. Number two, rights weren't supposed to be for us in the first place, right? That's what Charles Mills makes clear. That's what Cheryl Harris makes clear. Blessing. I think Black MAGA want a degree of separation from what they consider negative Blackness. Hello, that too. That too. Listen, you won't have no argument for me on that one. Medical apartheid is a good one too. Yes, PJ, absolutely. Medical apartheid, I actually recommend it as a reading in this week's lecture. It is week 3, lecture 3. That book is superimposed on the screen. Okay, let's see. Not showers. Oh Lord, I forgot I said that. Okay, that is hilarious. Not the fact that we take showers. Okay, what is a somebody is asking, what is a Black Wall Street? A Black Wall Street is basically where there were a bunch of Black businesses, right? Where we could shop with one another, where the Black dollar circulated, where we were doing well. But some folks weren't happy about that Black Wall Street because maybe we was getting money. Listen, if we don't know how to do nothing else, first of all, we know how to take a penny and turn it into $5. Well, we also know how to flip some money, okay? We know how to work with it. And that's what Black Wall Street was about. It was about this intra-communal economy that Black folks worked really hard to build, that eventually got torn down by white folks. And in some instances, it was actually bombed. And in other instances, in 2025, if you don't let certain folks in on Black Wall Street, they take you to court and they sue you because they're saying you're violating their 14th Amendment rights, which is what? A claim on whiteness as what? Property. All right, there's that. All right. Carla says they see us as a threat because we're too influential. We're only 10% of the population. Hello, 10% of the population and running 100% of the game. What did Kendrick Lamar say? You can't fake influence. Boop! There it is. All right. As they be bopping to our music, rolling down the street off beat. But that's not. Oh, Lord have mercy. See, why y'all be walking me into this? Okay. Love your content, representing for the poodles. All right, come on, Sigma Gamma Rho. We see you in here. Okay. Shout out to Sigma Gamma Rho. All right, y'all in the house. Carla says, hi, I used to think I was depressed, but I'm just a black girl in the U.S. Boom. Love this comment. Yes. This, is what critical race feminism is all about. Do you all see what I'm talking about? Baby, get up off from where you at. Stand on your feet. Ain't nothing wrong with you. It's the context in which you reside. It helps you to reclaim your mind, reclaim your being. That the depression that you might be experiencing, and I'm not saying that sometimes you might need to go see a therapist. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is what it is you are experiencing is society acting on you. That is the white supremacy being what? Superimposed. That is what Charles Mills was getting at. And the radical work of critical race feminism and critical race theory is to help to see yourself properly when you stand in the mirror and say, this, is who I am. And it helps you to get up out of that depression. Yes? So, Carla, I'm so excited. The fact that you are able to say, I used to think I was depressed, but I'm just a black girl in the U.S., and that's what it is. And you are divine. You are 100% whole and complete in your being. It is the larger structure that is around you. All right, let me move up off of that. Yes, woo, that was, ooh, Carla, yes. All right. Let's see. Who taught you to hate yourselves? Many black men voted for 47 or did not vote because they think black women have gained rights in them. Ooh, who taught you that? Why are you always leading me into stuff? Who taught you to hate yourself, right? Why are you always leading me into stuff? But nonetheless, this is what is covered in week 3, lecture 3. When we talk about intersectionality as an intervention, if you have not been able to watch that lecture, make sure you go back and watch it. Because there is a case which we discuss in which black women were awarded by the court. Watch the lecture. I'm not going to tell you the analysis. Watch the lecture, but it has extreme implications in what Who Taught You to Hate Yourself just put down here in terms of claims that black men make about black women gaining these rights. Hint, brothers, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're doing the wrong analysis, right? Come up out that patriarchy. Come up out of it because you're going to trip up, right? So go back and watch week 3, lecture 3, and toward the end, you'll see exactly what it is I am talking about. But Who Taught You to Hate Yourselves? I'm with you all the way. All right. And replying to someone who says the gender war is real, I've had so it really is. And at the end of the day, really what this gender war is about, right? Is about like who's going to hold the power. When in my mind, that's not the conversation that needs to be had, right? To me, I pay very close attention to the experience of black cis women, black trans women, right? Queer folk. I pay attention to everyone. Why? Because it helps me to understand the social context in which I find myself. And it helps me to understand that the struggle is not horizontal. If you fight it horizontally, you're doing the wrong thing. I don't care who you are in this chat. You can be Latino, you can be white, you can be black, you can be Asian, you can be Asian Pacific Islander, you can be Samoan. The struggle is not horizontal. Pardon me. The struggle is vertical. And once we stop going back and forward about, okay, we want this, we want that, or this group has less of that, and those things are real. Those things are real, don't get me wrong. And we start caring for one another and saying, you know what, we do actually have a little bit more of this. Let's intentionally put some more in this community. What does it do? It helps us to see one another properly, right? And it helps us to understand that the struggle is not horizontal, baby. You are not my enemy. You better send that energy, what? Vertical. You better do that. Some of us have more of an incisive analysis and more of a critique of brothers and sisters and one another than we do of vertical power. And we got to know that the struggle, again, is vertical. Let's see. National Archives must be protected. 110% correct, Jenna. But again, dude up in the White House has other plans. Adrian, my stand your ground question keeps getting filtered. Oh, no. Okay, Adrian, see if you can maybe write it another way and see if I can pick up on the context, right? And we'll go from there. Speaking of which, did Zach text me? Zach did not text me. Oh, yes, he did. let's see what Zach is talking about, because I'm trying to make sure that I address everyone's questions. See, y'all, I'm a real person. People really do know me in real life. I'm a real person. Let's see. Oh, he meant to say Kendrick Lamar. His references to Broken Promises of Whiteness, 40 Acres and a Mules. It's not just music to Black Americans. Okay, that that moment being sponsored by Apple. Okay, Zach, you asked Zach. I'm gonna end on that one. I'm gonna end on that one, Zach. We gonna come back to that one. We gonna unpack, because you asking some very, 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 very real and very serious questions in terms of Kendrick Lamar bringing this up in that moment, and then Apple sponsoring that moment, right? So yes, okay. Let's see. J to the G, National Archives, the Kennedy Center. It's all to control narratives and property rights. 110% J to the G. And by the way, if you have not been to the National Museum of African American Art and History, make sure y'all go on by there and see what is going on over there before the person in the White House does, they think or whatever. Kendrick Lamar. Oh! Thank you, who taught you that. I did not know that was that man's government. I did not know. And I love me some Kendrick, and I did not know that was his government. I didn't know that. See, each one teach one. Okay, I did not know that. I didn't know that at all. Okay, well, there's that. Hey, they still not like us. That's an interesting last name. Okay, come on, Kendrick. I did not know that. Okay, cool beans. Okay, please, I need to understand Candace Owens. Thank you. I think we all trying to understand Candace Owens, but does Candace Owens understand herself is my question. Okay, who taught you that he says OMG meant K dot? Got it. Okay, yep, okay, there's that. Okay, I started following you during the election. Always great analysis. Oh, thank you, J to the G. Yes, these J to the G is among the folks that were here definitely before Hillman Talk went down. So folks like J to the G are definitely familiar with my regular TikToks that I do, because they know and they'll tell you I will climb in my car in a minute and go somewhere and set up a camera and film. Even as security outside the grocery store was looking at me when I was talking about tariffs and different things that was going on in the grocery store, security was right on the other side of the camera. And I was like, please touch this camera so I can go live. And we just going to be tussling in this parking lot. Okay. So there's that. But thank you so much, J to the G. I appreciate you. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Art by Michelle says, yes, I'm there. Sign me up for the next class. I'll let you know what's going on. Will you talk about art too, like Nina Simone? Oh, listen, Nina Simone is a regular part of my syllabus as part of my syllabi, in real life, particularly her piece on Are You Ready? And I would upload that to TikTok, but I know that would be taken down in a heartbeat. Because if you have, see if y'all can find that on YouTube somewhere. That's your homework assignment. If you here for Saturday, see if you can find it on YouTube or somewhere. Nina Simone's "Are You Ready?" and listen to what she's asking, because that's what it's gonna take. And if you answer those questions honestly, it'll help you with your politics and with your thinking and with yourself and capacity and different things of that sort. Nina Simone, Are You Ready? Very powerful piece. Okay, moving right along. Chef Boyer 5 says, yes, for the history of black women. Ain't I a Black Woman by Bell Hooks is great. Okay, we got, so they're okay, people are saying yes, that course. Okay, well, we might need to do that one then. Okay, note to self, got it. Shannon says, sign me up for that course. I'd be interested in doing a book club of your suggestions if we discuss together. That, you know what, that's actually not a bad idea as well, in terms of doing like a book of the month and walking through it. Y'all better roll out these content ideas. We can do that too, right? We can definitely do a book of the month, and we can go from there, right? Could you list banned books that I could read? I don't know banned books off the top of my head, but I can certainly look into them. And I also do know that I'm pretty sure there are lists floating around the internet of some banned books that it would be very helpful to get your hands on a physical copy. Not And listen, y'all, I'm not hating on nobody who has a Kindle or anything like that sort. But there has been stuff going around in terms of Amazon and ownership and editing of books, different things like that. If you can with these books, this is a very small percentage of the books that I have in this house that you are seeing. I also have books elsewhere across the United States, believe it or not. So if you can, please start getting hard copies of these books, you all, because the first place that attacks go to is books. Yes, history of Black women. Okay, we might have to do that. Offbeat. Oops, I did. Oh my gosh, I let you go. Not rolling down the street. My bad. Okay, yo, I just be talking. Let's see. Okay. Hayward's DYI says, ski weep my sorrows. All right, so the AKAs are in the house. The sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So we have Alpha Kappa Alpha, we have Sigma Gamma Rho, and we have Delta Sigma Theta. That was all in the house. The sisters are here. Let's see. KF is asking, Travidol, did it in the case splitting in the court? That blew my mind. Yes, that's the case. That is the case, KF, that we talked about. So what KF is responding to is week 3, lecture 3. If you have not seen it, that particular part, and understand the analysis there, make sure you go and watch it. All right. Let's see. Racism is so deep. I don't know if I can make it vertical, though. PJ, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Because the lecture on Wednesday, we got to talk about some stuff. The lecture that's coming this coming Wednesday. Because all of this stuff that we are studying that is leading up to, what are we getting it back up to? The meaning and impact of racism, where we're going to do what? Make it clear and make it plain. Because if we're going to be in community with other folks, which there's nothing wrong with that. If we're going to be in community with folks, we got to make it clear and make it plain. And Wednesday, I am bracing myself for that lecture on Wednesday, not necessarily in terms of posting it, but just the comments that may come out of left field and right field from people that have not been with us along this journey and they don't understand the lecture in context, right? Because when this course was first advertised on TikTok, what I told everyone is that, hey, we're starting at Charles Mills, and by the time we end this course, the number one question that we are going to answer, because people want to know the answer to it, is can Black folks be racist? Oh yeah, we gonna land on it. We gonna land on it. And I'm just waiting for the right comments. Y'all know what I'm referring to. I'm waiting for the right comments to come on up in that particular lecture. Because after laying all of this stuff out, I think the answer is pretty clear. But nonetheless, PJ, stay tuned. I hear what you are saying, and yes, a lot of that, PJ, also has to deal with a lot of different things that we'll talk about on Wednesday in Unpack. So there is that. Okay, let's see. Loving the Dodger blue. Whoop whoop. Let's go Dodgers. Okay, y'all know I'm a huge Dodger fan, so so there's that. Okay. Jenna says, I have to scoot along with my day, but appreciate the discourse this morning. Keep up the good work. Not a problem, Jenna. Thank you for being here, even though I think you may have jumped off by now. Katie says, yes, a book club. Okay, cool. I'm now for a book of the month. Okay, cool. Yes, a book club would be fantastic. Okay, homework assignment noted. Got it. All right. So I will think about a book for us to engage in, right? Yes to a book club, and that's something that I could do along with my regular TikToks while we're waiting for the next class to queue up, right? That I'll be thinking through and about. Okay, JD Vance book on banned books list now. Let's see. Scotty's download your Kindle books before February 20th. Okay, so there's some information. Thank you, Scotty. Scotty says make sure that if you have Kindles and whatever other devices, download them before February 25th. Crystal says I can't wait. Okay, boom, there's that. All right, and then we are finally caught up here. Okay, so Zach said the following in regard to his question about Kendrick Lamar. He sent it to my phone, right? He says that he was referencing the broken promises of whiteness. Quote, 40 acres in a mule is not just music. This is referring to Kendrick Lamar. To Black Americans not being able to participate in society, in the deeper analysis got drowned out by him calling Drake, y'all know what goes in that blank, right? I think TikTok might ban me if I say that, right? But you know what goes here. Okay, sponsored by, and that this moment was sponsored by Apple, produced by Rock Nation. It unfortunately gave a feeling of him being used for the entertainment of Trump and reinforcing whiteness as property. That is certainly a critique that can be laid down. Now, I personally think, Zach, if you're still in the house, I personally think that that Kendrick's message like resounded out because it was just like there, right? But I do think that you do have a point in your critique in terms of capitalism and what it means for Apple to back that moment, and then even for Kendrick to enter in on that moment and still perform the song, right? So there is a lot that can be unpacked there and thought through about that moment. Carla says, thanks so much. This was awesome. Yes, Carla, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. PJ says, in NFL put a message saying they regret having him, I think. Oh, wow. I didn't see that. But if they did, even wow, right? And that speaks to how potent his message is. But I do think there is something to be said about the capitalization of Black music and in art forms and different things of that sort. And we talked about it a little bit, Zach, in terms of is Basquiat ever allowed to rest? We have commercialized Basquiat so much in non-Black spaces that his body is still doing work within the grave. And even with the message that Kendrick Lamar sent, what type of work was his body, as well as the bodies of those that performed, doing for Apple? That's a question that can certainly be asked. So I see exactly where you are going with that. So, my wonderful, wonderful people, this is Introduction to Critical Race Theory with Hillman Talk U. We have been on here for almost 2 hours, and as always, I enjoy and love my time with you all, and I want you all to have the most amazing weekend, and I want you to practice radical self-care and radical self-love today. Light a candle, enjoy a glass of wine, go for a hike, whatever it is. Make sure you make space and time for yourself in this moment. I see you all coming through and saying thank you, and I thank you. We will do it again one last time for this class next Saturday, and we'll see if we continue the Saturdays on from there and what it will look like. And I'll be thinking about some things they're going forward, but each one reach one. If you know someone else in the course, tell them, hey, next Saturday is the final live Saturday for the course. But don't worry, you'll always be able to access the material. The live from today will be made available tomorrow for those of you all who missed it. And I'll be thinking about other things we need to do. Oh, and I will be making the playlist with the Purpose of Project 2025 available. Once this concludes, I have to queue back up the videos and put them into a playlist. But again, you all, please forgive me on the video quality and the mic quality, but overall, the point is there. With that being stated, oh, Miss McDazzle, it'll be posted tomorrow. The live will be posted tomorrow. You didn't miss, you missed it, but you'll be able to get into it tomorrow, right? With that being stated, you all have a wonderful, 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 wonderful Saturday, and be sure to make sure that you take part in self-care. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for being in the community. Peace.